Hi again. So I wanted to make an updated video on what it's been like to have deleted social media. So this is a year without social media update. And I wanted to start off by saying I'm not against social media at all. Throughout this year, I've still been using Pinterest and YouTube because I felt that those two weren't really getting in the way of my life, like I explained in my last video. And yeah, it's been a full year. I do want to say that I have re-downloaded Instagram. So the no social media thing, I kind of am not really doing that anymore. I only downloaded Instagram. The reason for doing that was just because I felt that within this past year my mindset really changed and I was really able to detach myself from social media, so I felt like if I were to download Instagram again, I wouldn't sit there for hours on end scrolling. And I trust myself not to do that anymore, which is basically what I wanted to update you guys on. So the last time, I think it was about 5, almost 6 months without social media, and now it's been a full year. Like I said, I did re-download Instagram, but I'm not on it that much. It's mainly just to, I don't know, post creative things or post whatever I want if I feel like it. So I think I talked about this a little bit in my last video, but I for sure noticed a huge difference between this year, like today, and a year ago today on my mental state. I wasn't so hyper-focused on how I was being perceived by others, and my mind was more clear, which again, I think I said that in the last video, but it's just even more so true. And it's mainly because my head's not filled with this unnecessary information that we are constantly being fed. It's like a lot of people do dopamine detoxes too, which I guess this kind of was as well. So therefore I felt like I was able to focus better and for longer periods of time. Before, my attention span was very low, especially after, using TikTok all the time. I was able to have really good focus and sit down and get things done, or focus more on creative things and actually go through with it. Like, I have been reading books, which I used to love reading books when I was younger, but then as social media began to rise, I slowly stopped doing the more fun creative things like reading and other things, and spent most of my free time on social media. So now I have more free time to do other things, and I have a better attention span. I'm more focused. I'm able to sit down for longer periods of time and read a book, and it's great. I can actually finish a book. Before I couldn't even finish a book in a year, and now this year I've read I'm not sure how many, but I've read a lot. I also did want to mention, going along the lines of having all this information in our head, our ancestors and just generations before us were never filled with this much information, and they didn't have all this different info thrown at them constantly and consistently every day. So that can really, after a while, take a toll on your mental health, and it can also lead to a poor self-image too. So taking a dopamine detox or stepping away from social media for a little bit over the past year, I was able to slow down and focus on bettering myself instead of having all this info on other people's opinions and what other people are doing. And I was able to think more for myself and what's best for me. And a year has gone by, and I think that I've made some great progress mentally, and I think it's worth it. Even if it's just a day without social media, I think it kind of like resets your mind. But for longer periods of time, I think it could help your mental state in the long run. Like, I think I really needed this. Even though it seemed like something kind of small for me in the beginning, it ended up like helping a lot. And I'm not saying like you're going to have mental illness just because you're on social media. I'm just saying that for maybe people who do, it could really help, or just for anyone, it could really help a lot, because it did for me. And I was able to put the attention back on myself and focus on bettering myself, like seeking more help for my mental state, even doing things like I needed to get my wisdom teeth out, and I was putting that off for so long. But I ended up doing that, and I started taking better care of myself too. I think all of this kind of just goes hand in hand together. I feel like I'm kind of talking all over the place, so I hope that I'm making sense. But at the end of the day, I feel like basically it just changed my way of looking at social media from detaching from it for so long. I just don't care what others think of me anymore on social media, and that's freeing. And also, looking at a screen for hours on end every day is not living. That's not living. I think that it could be very entertaining and really a really cool way to like give and receive information very quickly, a good way to learn new things and be inspired and have new ideas. I think social media and just the internet is really cool for that reason, but doing that for hours every day is not living. Go out and live your life, and then use social media once in a while to like maybe get inspired or something, or be creative. But if that's the only thing you're doing in your free time, then I suggest you should take a step back, think about what you really want to do instead of like vicariously living through other people. I understand if like you like to watch maybe people traveling or doing something that you can't do, but if you're like, I used to watch TikToks of people crocheting and making all these really cool things, and I would put myself down because I was like, why can't I do that? All these people are super creative and I can't do any of this. But I wouldn't even really try. I would just watch other people do it online instead of taking my free time and using it to learn something new myself. Get what I'm saying? Yeah, so recap, social media is not bad, but it's also not your whole life. Even if you do work on social media, I think that having a balance, like everything, is good. Use it in moderation, kind of detach yourself from it, take a step back, take some time to yourself to look at what are goals that you really want to focus on, what are maybe creative things that you'd rather be doing, you know. So yep, just a little update. I think that's all I have to say about that. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.